So how can you use pendulums for divination? Well, when I say divination, what I mean here is information we don't currently have with the conscious part of our mind. So we're looking for the pendulum to give us answers that we're either aware of with the subconscious part of our mind, or that we are channeling from another place, or from the other, as we sometimes refer to it. So this is a pendulum, and this has been completely designed to be a pendulum. So basically, it's a weighted piece of something. So this is a crystal on a string or a chain that you can swing like this. And as you can see, this has been designed to fall and to be weighted in exactly the right way, to be pendulum shaped. So the first thing we do when we get a new pendulum, or actually I do it every time I use a pendulum, I ask it to demonstrate the responses to the questions I'm asking. So first thing I would do is to ask it for a yes response. And this is how you do that. So I would let the pendulum just gently swing, and then I would simply say to it, give me a yes response. And as you can see, the pendulum is swinging in a circle. And then usually as it's still swinging from the last response, you would ask it for the next response. So now I'm going to ask my pendulum to give me a no response. So I will say, give me a no response. And the pendulum stops. And then, as you can see, it's starting to swing side to side rather than round in circles. So this is telling me that this is my no response. It's also really useful to ask it for an I don't know response. And that's exactly what I'm going to do now. So pendulum, give me an I don't know response. And as you can see, it's starting to spin in a circle, but it's spinning in the opposite direction to the yes circle. So that's my I don't know response. And then you can go ahead and ask it any of the questions that you like that have a yes or no response. Should I take that job? Does that person like me? Am I making the right decision with XYZ? And like all kinds of divination, the quality of the answer will be in the quality of the question. So think very carefully about asking the right question in the right language. So the subconscious and the pendulum really like to have specifics. So be very clear what you're asking and very specific about it. So what can you use for a pendulum? So mine is designed specifically for use as a pendulum, and it's a bit of crystal. A lovely piece of fluorite. I don't know if that's visible, but it matches the background. I really love the Northern Lights, as you can probably tell from lots of my videos. So a piece of crystal works wonderfully. You can even just take any piece of crystal. A watch, a hanging watch, works really well. You can use keys on a string. You can use a piece of rock. I love hagstones, which are stones that have holes in the middle, natural holes in the middle, and I will often use a hagstone as a pendulum. You can use basically a piece of plasticine or blue tack on a bit of string. You can create a string of paper clips with the blue tack on the end. So whatever you have around your house, you can use. It just has to be weighted and on a string. So you have to be able to get it to swing in various ways. So, how does it work? Well, this is where I start getting very excited about talking about theory. So, we all have a subconscious part of our brain, and that's a part of our brain that remembers everything, holds all our biases, all our judgments, all our fears, all of the things we've learned within our life. So it's a big kind of pattern computer, but we don't access the subconscious on a day-to-day basis. We mostly use the conscious part of our brain, which is all of our thoughts that the brain has decided we want to have easy access to. So our subconscious is what tells us how to do things like breathe and walk. We don't have to consciously think of that. And the subconscious is taking in information all the time and making decisions on it. So when we talk to somebody, we may not consciously be picking up on their tone or certain nuances of what they've said, but our subconscious will be picking up on it and recognizes it. So we don't access the subconscious most of the time. We can access it within hypnosis, within meditation, but the majority of our day-to-day life is with the conscious mind, or with what Freud refers to as the pre-conscious, so the memories that we can access easily. And we can really use the way the subconscious does things automatically without talking to the conscious brain by using something called idiomotor responses. So idiomotor responses are used a lot within hypnosis. And basically what you're asking somebody to do is to move a part of their body without their conscious mind getting involved. So in hypnosis, you would say, raise a finger for a yes, raise a finger for a no. And that means that you're talking to somebody's subconscious rather than it having to be filtered through the conscious part of their mind that uses language. So when we use idiomotor skills, idiomotor responses with the pendulum, what we're doing is we're filtering the responses via our muscles, via our idiomotor responses, and not via our conscious mind, which means that our brain isn't getting in our way. We're not getting the whole, but I don't think that's possible. I don't want that to be true. We're using what we know from our subconscious. And we can also use the pendulum to channel. So we can invoke another energy or channel another energy, like a deity or an ancestor or a spirit of the land and place. And then we can ask it questions. So the responses are still coming from our body. They're still coming from that idiomotor, but they're coming from a different place. So we can use our conscious mind to ask the questions and our body and our subconscious mind to listen to the responses from the other, whatever it is we're trying to channel. And then we can hear them with our conscious mind in a way that we wouldn't be able to. So it's a way of also channeling other beings too. And that's a very quick explanation of what pendulums are, how they work, and how you can use them. So we can use them for all different kinds of things. Also similar to the pendulum are the dowsing rods, and the dowsing rods work in a very similar way.